We were captives in Babylon, far from our home, far from Jerusalem. The city was vast and magnificent, filled with towering ziggurats and bustling markets, yet despite its grandeur, it was not our home. We felt the weight of our exile every day, longing for the familiar streets of Jerusalem, the sacred temple, and the comforting presence of our community. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had taken us from our land. He was a powerful ruler, feared and respected by many. His conquests were vast and his ambition knew no bounds. Under his command we were uprooted from everything we knew and thrust into a foreign land with strange customs and unfamiliar gods. We were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, young men of noble lineage chosen for our wisdom and strength. In Jerusalem we had a future filled with promise, but here in Babylon we were just captives, stripped of our identities and our dreams. But in Babylon they called us Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Our names were changed to erase our heritage, to make us conform to their ways. It was a constant reminder of our captivity, a symbol of our lost freedom. We missed our home, we missed our temple. The memories of Jerusalem were like a distant dream fading with each passing day, yet the longing in our hearts never diminished. We yearned for the day we could return, to walk the streets of our beloved city once more, but we held on to our faith in God. In the midst of our suffering, our faith was our anchor. It gave us strength and hope, a light in the darkness of our exile. We believed that God had not abandoned us, that He had a plan for our deliverance. We prayed to Him every day. We remembered His promises. Our prayers were a lifeline, connecting us to our past and our future. They were a testament to our resilience, a declaration of our unwavering trust in God's mercy and power. One day King Nebuchadnezzar issued a decree. It was an edict that would test our faith and our loyalty to God. The king's word was law, and disobedience meant certain death. He had built a giant statue of gold. It was a symbol of his power and his gods. The statue towered over the city, a constant reminder of the king's authority and the gods of Babylon. He ordered everyone to bow down to it. Everyone. The decree was absolute. To refuse was to defy the king and face his wrath. But for us, bowing to the statue meant betraying our God, and that was something we could never do. The day arrived. People from every corner of the kingdom gathered, soldiers, nobles, even King Nebuchadnezzar himself. All stood before the golden statue. Trumpets blared, the music stopped, an order echoed across the plain. Bow down! And everyone did, except us. We could not bow. Our God forbade it. We worshiped the one true God, the God of Israel. We knew this angered the king. We knew the risk, but we would not bow. Word of our defiance reached Nebuchadnezzar. The news spread like wildfire through the kingdom, reaching the ears of the mighty king himself. His advisors whispered urgently, warning him of our rebellion. His face turned red with fury. The veins on his forehead bulged as he clenched his fists, unable to contain his anger. The thought of anyone defying his decree was unthinkable. "You will bow or burn!" he roared, his voice echoing through the grand hall. His eyes blazed with a fire that matched the intensity of his words. He pointed directly at us, making his intentions unmistakably clear. "Is your God stronger than my fire?" he challenged, his voice dripping with sarcasm and disdain. He gestured towards the massive furnace, its flames dancing menacingly. We stood our ground, unwavering in our faith. "Our God can save us," we declared with conviction. The king's challenge only strengthened our resolve. "But even if he doesn't, we will not bow," we added, our voices steady and unyielding. We knew the consequences, but our faith was stronger than our fear. This only fueled the king's rage. He paced back and forth, his anger intensifying with each step. His pride had been wounded, and he would not let this defiance go unpunished. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than normal. The workers stoked the flames, feeding the fire until it roared with an almost supernatural intensity. Then he commanded his strongest soldiers to tie us up and throw us in. The soldiers, loyal to their king, bound us tightly and dragged us towards our fiery fate. The heat was unbearable as we were dragged towards the furnace. The air shimmered with heat waves, and the roar of the flames grew louder with each step. We could feel the intense heat on our skin, but our faith remained unshaken. The flames leaped high, hungry for our flesh. The heat was unbearable, and the roar of the fire was deafening. It felt like the end was near, and there was no escape from the fiery doom that awaited us. We closed our eyes as we were hurled into the heart of the inferno. The sensation of falling into the flames was terrifying, and we braced ourselves for the searing pain that was sure to come. But we felt no pain. We opened our eyes, expecting to see our bodies consumed by the fire. Instead, we stood unharmed, surrounded by the raging flames. It was as if an invisible shield protected us from the heat and the fire. There, standing beside us, was a fourth figure. He was unlike anyone we had ever seen, glowing with a radiant light that seemed to calm the flames around us. He was like an angel, his presence calming the flames. We were not alone. The fear that had gripped our hearts began to fade, replaced by a sense of peace and awe at the miraculous sight before us. Nebuchadnezzar, watching from afar, was stunned. He had expected to see us perish in the flames, but instead, he saw us standing unharmed with a divine figure among us. He scrambled to the furnace, peering inside. His eyes widened in disbelief as he took in the sight of the four figures standing amidst the flames. "Didn't we throw 3 men into the fire?" he asked his advisors. His voice was filled with confusion and fear, unable to comprehend the miracle unfolding before his eyes. "Yes, your majesty," they stammered, just as shocked as he was. They too were at a loss for words, unable to explain how we had survived the inferno unscathed. Nebuchadnezzar approached the furnace, his voice trembling. "Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." We emerged, unharmed. The ropes that bound us had burned away, but not a hair on our heads was singed. The king was speechless. He had witnessed a power greater than his own. We stood by our faith, even in the face of death. But would you? What would you be willing to sacrifice for what you believe in?